Hi friends, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of One Question with Mr. Sharp. I'm really excited to have Abby Hanlon on the show. She's the creator of the Dory books. These books are just amazing. My students love them. I love them. I feel like everyone in children's literature loves these books because they're awesome. Dory is one of the most unique and fascinating characters the kids will ever read. One of the best chapter book series I have ever seen. I feel like kids today are falling in love with reading through Dory, much in the same way that they fell in love with reading through Junie B. Jones, Barbara Park's Junie B. Jones. Just amazing. I thought it would be fun to ask Abby how she makes these illustrated novels. They're beautiful, they're cool, they're unique, they're a little different. And so I asked her, how do you make these books? And her response was amazing. She talks for about 10 minutes and you really get a chance to see just how hard it is to make a book like this and all the pieces that goes in and how Abby's, the things that she's thinking about. I think it could really help kids to see this video, so please share it with kids. I think they'll learn a lot, I think they'll get a lot out of it, and I think it will inspire them to create. Take it away, Abby.
Hi, Colby. Thank you for asking me how I make a book. So today I'm going to show you how I make these Dory books. So the first thing that I do is I take notes. That's kind of an ongoing process, which is just, my notes are really just a list of things that I think are funny, and most of that stuff comes from my kids. So I have a document that I try to keep open on my computer at all times as a place to just go to, write stuff down as it happens, and just so that I can remember what's funny, because chances are I'm going to need it later. So when I'm ready to write, I look through that list and I try to figure out what I can take from that list and turn into crazy things that Dory can do. So then I create these little scenes, and then I look at the scenes and I try to figure out how I can weave those scenes together and come up with a larger story. So sometimes, if I'm lucky, and there's definitely an element of luck to this process, if I'm lucky, then stitching these little separate scenes together will just kind of come naturally, and almost like whatever you're doing to connect them sometimes is even better than the scene itself. So that's when things are easy, and that is when you feel really lucky and blessed, and that doesn't usually happen though. So what usually happens is I struggle, and I have a few strategies that I use to figure out how to get through that. So I'm going to show you some of them today. So one of them is that I just draw a narrative arc. So here's just like from a scrap paper from when I was working on Dory 1. I'll just draw an arc. So I have exposition. I'll put in, the important elements of the arc. So exposition, trigger, rising action, a low point, climax, and the resolution. So just drawing this out often helps me figure out how to give the book the structure that it needs. Another thing that I do is I try to figure out what every character wants. So I'll write down the characters' names, and I'll write down so this is from Dory 2. Violet and Luke want Dory to stop being so imaginative. Dory wants a real friend. Mary wants to go to school and be included. Rosabelle wants danger and war. Mr. Nuggy wants, and then it's blank because I don't know. And Mrs. Gobblecracker wants, because at that point I didn't know either. But actually writing this is what helped me figure out what they wanted. Oh, Mr. Nuggy wants to, not continue to be a chicken. Mrs. Gobblecracker wants a princess who was Rosabelle. So that's one thing. Another thing that I do is I ask lots of questions. So I ask myself questions. I ask my kids questions. This is kind of the questioning is sort of like, I guess this is my biggest writing strategy, and I think kind of the more mystical part of the writing process, because I feel like when I'm asking questions, I'm kind of like asking an oracle. So I have this kind of belief that I have to actually write down the question in order to get an answer. So I will write, sometimes my questions will be big questions, like thematic questions, and then sometimes they'll just be like little plot points. So here's an example. How does Dory's worry about being a bad kid lead to her believing that Mrs. Gobblecracker is coming instead of the Tooth Fairy? So that's kind of a big question, but then here's like some more plot stuff, like what ridiculous thing could Melody cry about? What is the accident between Dory and Melody? What do Luke and Violet tell Dory happened to the Tooth Fairy? And then here's a bigger question. How does lying about the coat lead to an exaggerated fear or overblown worry? So when I am writing and asking these questions, I really get stuck with them. I feel like it's like a riddle or a puzzle that I have to solve, and I think about them in my sleep, and I feel, until I find a resolution, I feel temporarily tormented. Okay, another strategy that I use is I write the words so and but on a page, and I try to fill in the plot points between those two words. So here's an example. This is from Dory 4. Okay, so Luke and Violet tell Dory that if if she's bad, the Tooth Fairy will bring her eggs. So Dory reassures herself that she's not bad. But then the teacher tells her that she's missing recess because of the coat incident. So Dory thinks of all the reasons she's bad and starts crying at lunchtime. But Rosabelle thinks she's crying because the Tooth Fairy is dead. That ended up coming out, but you get the idea. Okay, another strategy that I use that is actually, it's really great, it really comes in handy to also be the illustrator, is I just have a sketchbook, and a lot of times when I'm stuck, I will just draw the character and the characters, whatever I'm working on, and that in that process, sometimes the characters just kind of, the process of drawing them or doodling, the characters just tell me what they want to do. So eventually I get to the point where I have a manuscript. So here's a manuscript from Dory 1, and I just write in notations for where the illustration will go. I don't think too much about the illustration at this point. Then my editor, Lucia Monfried, and I go back and forth, and she finds lots of ways to make the story stronger. And when we do several rounds of edits, and when we feel like we have, I would say, like 80% of the book in place, then she gives me the green light to go ahead and start the sketches. So then I will just do like a big stack of sketches, and they are just messy and rough. But even though, I should say, I'm going to show you them. Well, so what I do is I take the sketches and I scan them in, and I give them to Jenny Kelly, who is the designer at Dial, and then she lays them out with, the Dory, the font and the trim size and all that stuff. And so what we do is, so I'll show you. So this is like the first round. So she, so this is what the sketches look like the first, at the first round. So like, they're pretty rough. Some parts, like I don't fill everything in, but at the same time, I kind of need to draw the character's expression. So like, here's Dory stealing the toaster. I need to, like, even though I didn't fill anything else in on that page, I still sort of needed to draw Dory carrying the toaster and making that face, because I need to kind of make sure that the illustration is going to carry the heart of the story and is actually even, necessary. So after I see the book laid out, we make lots of changes, and I move things around, and I try to move things around so that the illustrations and the text flow really well together. And what I want is for a 6 or 7 year old to feel like that they're going to be able to make it through this 160 page book. And one of the things that's really important, I think, for a new reader is to make sure that the text and the illustrations match and line up on the same page, so a reader doesn't have to turn the page to figure out, oh, this is the illustration that goes with that text. So I will, when I see the book laid out, I will move lots of things around in order to make that happen. And the next stage is doing the tight sketches. So I take the rough sketches and I make them tighter, and this is kind of how they look. And then they get cleaned up to go in the galley. So when the galley gets printed, I unfortunately, I'm always behind, and I don't have the final art for the galley. So the galley has these tight sketches in place, and it gets printed just with the pencil drawings. So after the galley, I really have to do two more things at this point, which is I need to, I keep editing the book. I read the book out loud over and over again. I read it to my kids, and in the process of reading the book out loud, I figure out a lot more changes that I want to make, and I also need to do the final art. So I need to go from this to this, right? So it looks really straightforward. Like, how hard could this be to take a sketch and then just, turn it into what I do is I trace it. I use a light board. It's my light board. And then I use watercolor paper. I trace it with this Prismacolor pencil, and I paint it with black wash. And for some reason, a lot of things get lost in translation, like sometimes the expression, I can't figure out why I traced it, and I traced it over and over and over again, and it still doesn't look right. Or after I trace it, I realize that there's something wrong with the composition, or the perspective. I still make a lot of amateur mistakes, and I end up redoing things over and over again until basically I run out of time, until I have to put it all together in a book and get on the subway and hand it in. So this is what I hand in, which is these lots of little pieces of art. So so that's it. Thank you, Colby. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Friends, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of One Question with Mr. Sharp. Thank you, Abby Hanlon, for being an amazing creator and for making books for our readers. We appreciate it so much. Have an awesome day, friends, and happy reading.